Well, hey, hello there. What up, friends? Welcome to the Lowdown on Motown Sports podcast. I'm your host, Bob Daniele, with my buddies, Blue Dane Williams and Junko Bodie. Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you've been listening to us, we appreciate it. If you're new, and we hope you like what you hear, of course, it'd be great if you could like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. So let's get rolling. All right, guys, what a weekend. Actually, it's been a weekend of missed opportunities, right? Missed putts, one-run losses, and our favorite Big Ten coach, James Franklin, well, close, being James Franklin, right? Not the greatest weekend if you're a golf fan for USA Golf, but thankfully, here in Detroit, the streets are paved with gold, right? It's the land of milk and honey, friends. Even the Tigers made it into the playoffs. They snuck in after a September to forget. And we have the Detroit Lions.
Backing in, Bob.
Right?
Backing.
That's what you call backing in. They had a 15-game lead going into August, middle of August.
July. Yeah, in July they had a 15-game lead over the Guardians.
Historic. That's historic, right? Historic. Yeah. Now, Dane, Junko and we've played golf with you a million times, right? And we've watched you putt a lot of pressure putts. And we think you could even qualify for the Ryder Cup.
Same result.
I think their knees were knocking as bad as mine knock on pressure putts. It was horrible putting. They do it for a living. I have an excuse.
Right, exactly. Somebody say choke. And Junko, somebody thought that you might have been punking Grubhub with as many times as you were going. They didn't quite believe that you were able to call them so often. Did you get off the couch at all this weekend?
In fact, my Grubhub driver and I'm now going to his wife's birthday party next week. So we have a relationship.
Yeah, I'm sure the wife was getting suspicious. So you know who else had a great weekend on the couch? The Michigan Wolverines. Michigan took advantage of the bye week to heal up, do a little recruiting, watch some film for future opponents. And a few of their opponents, while they were watching them, did not have such a great week. So let's talk about the three games that affect Michigan and may have an impact on the rest of their season. Dane, let's start with Oregon's 30-24 win over Penn State at Happy Valley. Take it away.
Yeah, 2 overtimes. What a game. I mean, really, you got number 3 versus number 6. You know, when you look at the separation between the two, I mean, they're 3 to 6. There's hardly any separation other than some coaches and writers thought that, Penn State should be 3 and Oregon 6. Mm-hmm. But what a great game. I mean, when you look at it, it was just, I've never been an Aller fan. And he picked the most inopportune time to throw an interception in that second overtime. But kudos to both teams. I mean, you look at the total number of yards for the two teams. I mean, I think Penn State only had 276 total yards. So not that great. But Oregon, they had 424 total yards. So you would think Oregon would have run away with this thing, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. And it took them 2 overtimes to win. So Penn State's still a very good team. Maybe the difference was it was in Happy Valley. It kept them in the game, but they just couldn't hang.
Hey, Junko, Penn State's calling themselves a generational team. They think they got a good one, but is that really true? Are you buying that or not?
It's overrated. Dane mentioned Drew Aller throwing an inopportune, interception. Doesn't he always? Isn't that kind of his stick? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Here's James Franklin's record, right? 1-10 versus Ohio State, 3-7 versus Michigan. Even though he's got a 2 extra home game advantage in that mix. Against the top 10, his record is 4-21. Against top 5 teams, his record is 1-15. And against top 6 teams, his record is 2-21. That's what they say is 2 is a coincidence, 3 is a trend. We're talking 21 here. It's a huge trend. And it being a generational team, I never believed it. I, in fact, my play of the week this week was Oregon plus the 2.5 points. That was like easy money,
Okay.
right?
Hey, you made up for the Ravens, huh? Or whatever.
The Baltimore, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, Dane. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So obviously, I mean, obviously or not obviously, I'll ask Dane. Penn State is not as good as advertised, or is Oregon really that good?
I think I mean, it was a close game. It's 2 overtimes. I think they're both really good teams. Penn State may have been a bit overrated, as Junko's saying, but I mean, quite frankly, they played tough, both sides of the ball, both teams. I think it was just an excellent game with 2 very good teams.
Junko, anything to
I
add?
think Dane's full of it. I don't think that. I mean, I think they're both good teams. I don't think they're both top 5 teams. I don't think either one of them's a top 5 team. And here's the other thing too. Dante Moore. I saw him play in high school. I watched him out what he was doing out in UCLA. Basically sat a year behind Dylan Gabriel last year. Now he's coming in. And even now, after being in his 3rd year, this would be the year that if you compare him to Bryce Underwood, right? If this was Bryce, this would be Bryce in the year that last year they expected him to be at Michigan, where he'd be going to the NFL as a 1st-round draft pick the next week or next year. I don't see the comparison. I don't think that much of either one of these teams. I don't think either one of these teams will be in that final grouping at the end of the year.
But if they're not top 5 teams, and I'm sure the Penn State fell out. I didn't look at the rankings today, but who takes their place?
Well, I mean, it's a good.
I mean, who?
Good,
Indiana?
well, hey, don't downplay Indiana. They haven't played them yet. We're gonna see
Yeah.
that showdown.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Indiana barely beat freaking who the hell did they play this week? I
Right.
can't remember. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I think you might be looking.
So obviously, okay.
That's some great. There's some good teams out there, and I think that's still to be revealed. But I don't. And Oregon may turn out to be a good team because at least they seem to be going. I mean, Penn State's a veteran team. They're not going to get a whole lot better than what they are. They've been together for 3 years,
Yeah.
right? You base it on that. I would say maybe Oregon, but not Penn State.
Yeah, but Indiana, they squeaked by Iowa, right? So after they blew out Illinois, anyway.
Yeah.
This is becoming like the NFL.
It is, by the way.
So Penn State will play Ohio State in a few weeks, so things are going to get real for them pretty soon. But another big game with Michigan implications was the Buckeyes' 24-6 win over Washington Saturday afternoon. Now, everybody's saying Damon Williams was supposed to lead this dynamic Husky offense, right? But he was held out of the end zone all afternoon. So I know we've said this before. We thought that Washington may be a problem for Michigan going into that game. Do you still feel that way, Junko?
Yeah. I mean, again, I remember when we played Washington back in the year we won the national championship, and everybody talked about how great their secondary was, and it was great, but they basically got ripped up, by what I thought was a pretty pedestrian Michigan passing game back in the national championship game. They were a very good running team. And I look at Williams, and I think to myself, in a game like this is a game where the quarterback's got to take over, and he didn't do it in this game. Ohio State, I'm going to give them credit, and I don't do this very often, but I think their defense is for real. I still think their offense is pedestrian, but I think their defense is for real. And they pretty much shut down Washington, but they had 2 field goals, 1 in each half, right? What they had 61 yards rushing. I mean, 2 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Yeah, I think Washington's defense is okay. I think their offense is okay. They're playing Ohio State in that place where they're supposed to be unbeatable, right? Husky Stadium, Alaska Airlines Arena or whatever they call it now. I like Michigan's chances in a couple weeks.
All right, one more game.
Yeah, I
ahead,
do too. I think, the 61 rush yards, of course, they lost 28 yards due to sacks. Ohio State got to Williams, 6 times and sacked him. Now he can scramble, but he's also very sackable. I think I just invented a new word, but very sackable.
I was going to say.
And, with the 6 sacks. But how about, did you guys see that fake field goal that Washington tried to run? So the fake field goal, and the tight end's running down the field, blocking.
I saw that.
Yeah, blocking. And, the kicker's trying to throw it to the tight end, and the tight end wasn't on the same page at all. I said, when you're doing a trick play like that, how does a tight end not freaking know what the play is?
I have a lot of respect for Jed Fish, but if you had to pick the most unathletic guy on the Washington football team, it had to be that kicker, right? That guy, he looked at that tight end blocking, and he just threw it out of bounds because he didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, the play was blown up. Not much you could do about that. So anyway,
all right. Well, another game. Go ahead, Dane. You've got so many thoughts about this game.
I was just going to say, I think Washington's going to be a challenge, but I think with our defense, our defense is on par with Ohio State's. I think we're going to bring some pressure. I think we can get to them and sack them too. So looking forward to it.
Don't sell short of the fact that Washington is going to have to do that cross-country travel, much the same way that Michigan will have to go to USC. So that brings us to the third game of importance. Illinois beating USC. That's a bit of a shocker since we thought USC will be a challenge for Michigan. So Dane, how do you see that one?
Yeah, I tell you what, Illinois really bounced back after that Indiana blowout. It was very strange, Indiana destroyed Illinois 63 to whatever it was, 10 or whatever. Then Illinois beats USC and has a lot of yards, right? A lot of yards. And then Indiana squeaks by Iowa. So again, I'm sitting here going, scratching my head. Okay, pretender, contender, who is it? And which one is it? But yeah, I mean, Jaden Maivara had 364 pass yards for USC. He looked pretty good. He can scramble, he can hit his receivers, and he can run too. So their running back, Waden Jordan, had 94 yards, very respectable. So, but when you look at Illinois and USC, they were almost equal in total yards, 490 to 499. So not much of a difference there. But USC can put up some certainly some pass yards, and they can run the ball. So if we get in a shootout, that our offense is able to respond to a shootout. Otherwise, I hope our run game does a whole lot better than the Illinois run game. Although they had 171 yards rushing, so it'll be an interesting game. It may come down to whoever has the ball last.
Yeah, anaconda. It's all about the anaconda, right? I think.
Strangle.
I don't think anacondas are restrictors. There's something else. Maybe probably a misuse of the word anaconda. But I think when Michigan plays these two teams, well, they won't play Illinois this year, but when they play USC, I think they have to make it their kind of game. They threw up, what did you say the yardage was? 490 yards total offense for USC?
For USC,
yeah. I mean, and Indiana put a licking on that Illinois defense too. So you have to wonder, is the Illinois defense, first of all, very good? Don't they have that Punk Walters coaching them again, the old Purdue coach? Isn't he now their defense?
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
I think he is. Yeah. Another guy right after, who's the other guy I couldn't stand the other day, Bob? I forgot who it was. Who was
Rule? Not Rule.
Matt Rule. Right after Matt Rule, my next guy is Ryan Walters, that guy from Wooden Ship.
You got a whole list, don't you?
Yeah, I got a list of people that I hate, actually. But,
am I on what place am I on? I'm like 8 or something?
Down the list. But anyway, make a long.
All right, let me see. The Junko's making a list here.
Get on my list. All right. So I look at this.
Well, first of all, top of the list is whatever reptile you're quoting this week.
I look at this USC game and I think to myself, you know what? We're going to run the ball and then we're going to control the clock. I know that this defense is supposed to be a lot better. I don't see it. But we're going to find out here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And, some interesting stats. So total defense, Michigan's 25th, USC is 72nd. total offense, USC is third and Michigan's 45th. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's not get too far ahead, right? We've got Wisconsin and Michigan is all rested up, and they get back to business at noon against Wisconsin. Is that at Michigan? That's at home, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Michigan is a whopping 16 and a half point favorite. Over under is 41 and a half. Seems pretty high. Why do you think Vegas has the spread that high? And are you guys expecting a blowout? I'll start with from a gambler's perspective. Junko, why don't you go first?
Well, yeah, I have this habit of when I'm in doubt, I bet against Michigan because I want to be happy either way, right? I figure like if I'm going to play like $100 on the game or something, I'll bet against Michigan because even if I lose $100, I feel really good about it at the end. And this is one of those games where I would hope like Michigan would win like 30-14 or something, just under that half point mark there. But I don't think that's a fair spread. I think Wisconsin's got their back against the wall. I think Lou Fickell is in trouble, and the team's going to play for their coach. I don't know. Here's the big question for me in that game: is Billy Edwards going to play for Wisconsin? Right? It doesn't sound like it, Dane.
So it doesn't sound like it.
Center is out too, right?
I believe so.
So you take those two guys out of the equation, and that's the center of your offense, right? The only way I think Michigan blows them out is if Billy Edwards doesn't play. Billy Edwards plays, I think it'll be a couple touchdown game.
Yeah, their backup, Danny O'Neill, is banged up after last game too. He had a lower body injury, so I don't know if he'll be available. They may have their third stringer in there if he's not available. I would think that Danny O'Neill, he looked pretty good. Even watching him against Alabama, he looked good. He made some good passes and that. But Alabama just ran all over their defense big time. Right? Yeah, yeah, I believe they did. Yeah, and it was quite a bit. Yeah, Alabama. Let's see, the 20 minutes. Yeah, so about that. Yeah, that's what I saw. So I think though with Wisconsin, I think it's going to be a win. Will it be a blowout win? I don't know. It all depends. I would say again on Bryce Underwood and the receivers. These receivers can start catching balls. It could be a blowout win. If they keep dropping passes, could be a rather long day, like we saw against Nebraska.
So Dane, what do you see in particular for a victory over Wisconsin? What are the strengths that the Badgers have that they need to watch out for, and then mention a few of the weaknesses you think?
Yeah. So reading and before the season started, I think a lot of the pundits thought that their secondary was going to be extremely strong. They've got a top 10 safety, Hunter Waller, and then they've got a top 15 cornerback, Ricardo Hallman. But watching that Alabama game, those guys were getting burned. So I don't know how tough their secondary is anymore. So that's kind of, I think maybe their stronger suit was maybe that secondary, but I don't think their defense is all that great overall at all. But the weakness is that receiving core of theirs. They lost their top tight end to the draft last year, and their number 3 receiver transferred to Florida. So they're pretty much decimating the receiver core. I would think those are.
They've got no center, no quarterback, no receivers. Their running backs.
The weakness is their injuries.
Yeah.
That's another weakness, and it hurts them is their injuries. Yeah.
So Junko, where do you think Michigan will be on the attack against Wisconsin?
Well, they're going to beat Michigan, right? They're going to run the ball. They'll probe, and this is what I like about Chip Lindsey is he likes to watch the game play out, and he'll look for adjustments that Wisconsin's made. Remember, this is a bye week for both teams, so Wisconsin's had a whole extra week to prepare for Michigan, and I'm sure they did some preparing before the season as well. So they're going to have a game plan. But here's what's different about Michigan and probably what they saw before the season started is that Bryce Underwood has become a weapon to run the football now. So now they can't just line up a bunch of guys at the line of scrimmage because you get one block on the edge, and now it's Katie bar the door. So I expect Michigan, number one, to attack Wisconsin, but I also expect them to attack them on the edge. And here's an opportunity for Michigan too. I agree with Dane. I don't think that secondary is very good. I'll tell you what, Maryland didn't think they were very good. They just decimated them, right? And I think this is an opportunity for Bryce Underwood to work on his passing game with all these big games we have coming up. And I think that they ought to be throwing the ball at least 50% of the time in this game, as long as they're able to establish the run early. And I think, and here's the other thing too, is we talk about this all the time and about establishing the run, is that there's a bunch of different ways to do that. You can just come out and be hardcore, or you can go out there and you can complete 2 or 3 passes at the beginning of the game and get those linebackers to back up, get those safeties to back up. And then Michigan obviously will be able to do their thing. It's going to be very interesting. I think El Hadi might be back in the lineup this week, Dane. I haven't heard whether I know that they're saying he's working his way back, but.
Yeah, there was a really good report from Sharon today. He said everyone who's injured is making really, really good progress. And he said when El Hadi comes back, it's his job. He did say that today. Yeah. So now on the other end, Norton Norton may be able to beat out, what's the other guy's name? I can't think of his name. Yeah, Jake Anera, maybe. But so that one's up for grabs. But he said El Hadi definitely has the job when he's healthy. Yeah. But I'm not sure if he's come back. He said everybody's trending in the right direction, but probably game day.
So who else do you, Dane? Who else do you know for sure is coming back, or you're saying everybody else is a game day decision?
I think, according to Sharon today, everybody's trending in the right direction. He was pretty tight-lipped. In fact, he didn't say, "Oh yeah, they're definitely coming back. They'll be in the game." So I think everything's a game day decision based on what he said today.
You got a couple names who might be back, or like any game day decisions? Because there were a lot of injuries. I can't even remember who was injured.
Yeah. Before. Well, the 2 offensive linemen, of course.
Okay, right.
Hansen, he said, was trending in a good direction, and he may be back. So that was good. Jair Hill was trending in a good direction and may be back too.
Zeke
so
Berry,
there's some names.
And
he didn't mention Zeke Berry, which was interesting.
Yeah, but I've heard that Zeke might be able to play a little bit this week, and also Hogan Hansen might be able to go, but I've heard they might hold him back because, he had one injury earlier in the season. Now we got a new injury. They're trying to get him healthy because they know they're going to need him for some big games coming up.
I was looking at my notes again here, and actually, rush defense in the country. Guess who's number
Wisconsin.
1? Yeah, Wisconsin number 1 with only allowing 50 yards per game. So
wow.
But they played Miami, Ohio. They played Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee? I thought it was Montana State. That's what I had written down.
I think it was Middle Tennessee. And Alabama could throw against them, 382 pass yards, and Maryland did the same thing. So they didn't have to run the ball that much to win. I would take that with a grain of salt. Definitely.
So, everybody's got a plan, right? Until you get punched in the mouth and you're like, oh, wait a minute. So, we've got the spread, we've got the points, got the over and under, but that spread is a little problematic for me. It makes me a little uneasy because you've got intangibles like Coach Fickle's on the hot seat. They need to win this game. Junko mentioned before, they may be playing for him because it may be his last game. So it may be like their Super Bowl. What are the keys to the game for both teams? Why don't you start us off, Junko?
Well, we always start with turnovers, right? We got to win the turnover battle. The only way I can really see Wisconsin hanging in this game is if Michigan turns it over a couple times. I don't think they will. I think Michigan wants to be able to throw the ball successfully in this game. I think they feel like in this game, with the bye week just having been completed and having the opportunity to come out and work on some things and go over some film, that this should be a week where Bryce can come out and throw the ball down the field a couple of times. And I hope that happens. I think to win the game, they got to make Wisconsin kind of one-dimensional. I think they want to take away the past, make them try to run the football because I don't think they can do that. So we'll see how they play on that. But this will be a good opportunity for Wink to make some adjustments. I'll tell you what I really love about our defense, and it's that they are so deep. There are so many guys right now that are playing well that are not in the starting lineup, like Cole Sullivan and Nate Marshall and TJ Guy and Jimmy Rolder. I mean, I just look at and we've got guys that are coming back. Like I think Shamari Earls is going to play this week, and he's been injured, and he's the future for Michigan at corner, and so they got a lot of depth, and it's going to be a good opportunity for them to go out and stay fresh, wear them down, make this game a runaway in the second half. That's what I see.
Dane, how you see it going?
Yeah, I think for both teams are going to, I mean, it's Big Ten football. They're both used to smash mouth football. I think both teams are going to try to establish the run early. Limit turnovers. I totally agree with Junko there. Certainly you got to win the turnover battle for Michigan or both sides. That's how the game will go. And then I think mistakes. Catch those balls. Don't make, no stupid penalties, and limit the number of penalties that, maybe legit. I would say legit, like a pass interference. The guy's going to score a touchdown. Yeah, you want to tackle him so he doesn't score a touchdown. So we have to play smart, I would say, this game. And hopefully the coaching staff or this break period really had a good talk with everyone about playing smart and not doing something stupid.
Yeah, I like those
All right.
meaningful penalties, like when you put your hand on the guy's face mask when you're getting up, and press them back into the ground. I like those. Those are my favorite.
Well, the taunting penalty is just stupid.
No,
just stop it.
That's contact, man. Come on.
You're looking for quality penalties, right, Junko?
Quality penalties, damn it.
Well, all right. It is a big noon Saturday on Fox. National attention there. It's Michigan's homecoming. So Michigan is 3-1. Wisconsin 2-2. Wisconsin's got a 2-game losing streak. Let's have some predictions. Junko, give me one first.
I see it as a 3-game losing streak for Wisconsin. I got Michigan 34, Wisconsin 13, and the first two quarterbacks get knocked out of the game early. The third guy just takes a beating. That's what I see.
With quality penalties. Dane.
Junko, usually you say the first team to 27 is going to win. You didn't say it this time. What's up with?
Because Wisconsin's never going to get to 27.
All right, yeah, I've got Michigan winning this one too. I think the running game is going to be really, really solid. I'm still a little nervous about Bryce and the receivers, but I see Michigan winning 27-21. I've got a little closer than Junko.
Okay. Wow, 27-21. Okay.
In the big house?
And then
You see 27.
In the big house, I know.
You're
yeah.
off the charts with optimism. And that just surprises me. You're slipping in your old age.
Now, Dane, you were mentioning that Wisconsin's got a stout running defense, but I think Michigan's got a real good offensive line. I think our run game is going to be the difference. See Michigan taking it away 28-10.
28 to what? I'm sorry?
28-10.
10. All right, you guys, good. I like your scores a lot better than mine.
All right. Now, right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to break out the party favors because it's time for Dane's useless but always interesting trivia. Take it away, Dane.
Trivia is great. Trivia is great. Blue Dane's trivia is always great. Useful but interesting. Boy, we really need to get some money, Junko, so we can get somebody professional to do this.
Yeah, especially somebody doing trivia. Here we go. Yeah.
All right, so we're playing the Badgers this weekend. Bucky Badger. That's the little Badger's name is Bucky Badger. So, question for you guys. I actually have 2 trivia questions for you today. How
Bonus.
did the Badgers, how'd they get their name? Was it the school president at the time liked Badgers? 2, they had some miners in the state at the time. They were mining lead, and those people lived like badgers. Or 3, Max Greenwald won a contest held to come up with the name.
I'm going with the Miners. I think it was the Miners.
I was expecting some sort of alternative to a Wolverine, that they had a Badger, and they're like opposite states and mittens and stuff like that. But you didn't even mention that, so I'll go with number one. What was that? The
president like
Yeah.
Badgers. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's the Miners. So yeah.
Oh,
Junko wins again.
Junko is on a roll.
So these miners, they didn't have any real facilities out there in their mining, so they actually lived in holes they dug out of the side of hills and lived in those while they were mining. So they said they lived like badgers, and that's where the Badgers got their name. So in 1940, they actually had a live badger, and it was used in the first few games. But the problem was the damn thing was so fierce, it was hard to control the thing.
It's like a Wolverine.
So they went with
the same concept.
What's that?
Like the Wolverine in the Heisman house.
Yeah, now if we had an actual Wolverine out there, can you imagine that? Anyway, they had an actual badger out there, and the thing was just tearing everything up, I guess. So they went with another live mascot to replace the badger. Was it a possum, a squirrel, or a raccoon?
Oh, it had to be the raccoon. Had to be.
Yeah. Raccoon.
It was the raccoon. Yeah. Now, they named the raccoon Regdab. You know why they named it Regdab?
Backwards for badger.
Badger backwards.
It's badger spelled backwards, right?
Oh, wasn't that wonderful, huh?
University, huh?
Thank you very much, Dane Williams.
I had a raccoon growing up. Did you guys know that?
No, doesn't surprise me.
He was great as long as you didn't touch his head. But if you touch his head, he'd just tore your arm off. So it was a quick lesson learned, I guess.
I thought those scratches were from your girlfriend, but it was from the raccoon.
Well, same difference. Right.
Gentlemen, we move on. Last week we did our rest of the season prediction, and we all predicted that next week was going to be a win, and so we predict today that it's going to be an interesting win. So now, while the Wolverines were enjoying a beautiful Sunday, Michigan autumn Sunday in the sun with Cheetos and Bell's Oberon. Wait a minute, that was me. Take that back. That was me. The Detroit Lions were taking care of business as they were doing what we do here in Detroit. We kick some Ohio ass in a 34-10 win. As usual, it was a pretty easy task. Guys, Ryder Cup aside, it was a pretty enjoyable Sunday afternoon, wasn't it? Our old friends, Devin Bush and Mason Graham, we said, hey, how you doing? They played well, but the Lions just had their way with Cleveland. And as it was, we delivered Brown for us. Little play on the package delivery thing. There you go.
Yeah, I love it.
So let's start with Detroit's offense against the Browns, number one rated defense. And Lions are truly the box of chocolate in Forrest Gump's lap, right? You never know which aspect of their game is going to shine. It's just whatever they need, they pull it out and they do it. So let's go through what went right and what went wrong, and let's start with Junko. What went right, buddy?
Well, I can tell you what Brown did for me. I would just tell you that they made it for a very enjoyable Sunday. I love games where there's no stress in the second half, and this game was over at halftime. It was beautiful. I could even watch the folding of the Americans during the Ryder Cup there for a while because I didn't have to pay attention to the second half of the Lions game. But I will tell you, very impressed really with the Cleveland Brown defense. I thought that the defense for them is really formidable. That's a tough group. I wish that the Detroit Lions could just swap their defense out, maybe keep Hayden Hutchinson and take the rest of the Cleveland Brown defense and putting it to our side because I thought those guys really played well. And I think they are probably the best defense in the NFL. And I know there's some argument to that. I used to think it was the Ravens until last week, and now I don't think that. I think they're the best defense we're going to have faced all season. So I gave the offense an A+. Jamar Gibbs continues to impress. He was awesome. Amon, St. Brown was fabulous. He was great. And and if they could have given Goff just a little bit more time in the pocket, I think they would have connected on a couple of deep balls yesterday. So, yeah, it just got very, very good job for the Michigan or the Detroit running game, and Jared Goff just continues to impress. They had a couple opportunities to sack him yesterday, and he moved around just enough to get off those passes and made a couple of big plays out of it. I give him big kudos.
See, I thought Goff was efficient enough, not spectacular, but efficient enough. He had trouble finding a receiver, or at least hitting a receiver that wasn't named St. Brown. But that was my takeaway from it.
Yeah,
Dane, how did you
Williams
see
dropped
it?
a couple.
Yeah, there were a couple of drops.
Yeah, Williams dropped a couple, and Goff only had 168 yards. But again, they did what they needed to win. I mean, but I tell you what, let's call out Hutch, baby. 2 sacks, forced fumble.
Great game.
The defense had 3 total sacks. That was great. And the interception by Kirby Joseph, he was over there all by himself. You know why? He was watching Flacco's eyes, and he could see Flacco. He was looking in that direction. There was obviously miscommunication with his receiver because no one there. But Joseph could have gone over where the receiver was, but he was watching Flacco, and he got the interception. That was fantastic. And I gotta call out Khalif Raymond. That punt return was just beautiful. And I love that punter. The punter. What a wimp.
Oh yeah.
He's the epitome of I've got, you got one job, right? And he's thinking my only job is to punt. I'm not supposed to tackle.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, that was the worst effort I ever saw of a punter.
He started with a bad angle and it just got worse from there. He looked
up.
pretty bad.
He didn't, he wasn't.
Oh yeah.
5 yards and we just gave up. It was like.
But I would say,
not doing it.
Yeah, what brought up Williams. Williams really, it wasn't his game. He didn't have his best game. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
They rushed for 109 yards, but there's only 277 total yards by the Lions' offense, which is certainly not what they're used to seeing. And Cleveland matched them there, basically 263. So neither lit the world on fire there. But hey, the Lions got it done. And that's what counts.
Yep. Another bad game from Terry and Arnold. They actually left with an injury. So they were talking about giving him fewer snaps anyway. Sad to see DJ Reed go down. I don't know what his status is.
That was a nice interception. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And how about
great interception.
He jumped right over that Jerry Jeudy.
He did.
Is that Jerry Jeudy a whiny receiver or what? Every time he missed a couple passes, and that time he went, what's going on?
Always looking back at the refs.
I got this feeling like he's a real whiny dude. I don't know.
Yeah. So, hey, it was a pretty successful day for the offense, right? So now let's talk defense against, I think he's like 85-year-old Joe Flacco.
70 years in the league.
Exactly. So Detroit still seems to have its good and bad moments. So, Junko, what were some of those in the game? What stood out to you? So let's start with the defense. What did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, I really like, you guys mentioned probably both of mine. I think Hutch is starting to round into form. I thought he looked better in this game. I think the last 2 or 3 games he seems to get better and better and better. And I don't know what Cleveland was doing. They were trying to block him one-on-one. What was that all about? Maybe they felt like he still wasn't all the way back, but they sure helped his progress yesterday because they went by him like it was a no delivery. It was pretty simple. And then Terry and Arnold, right? Golly, man, oh man, somebody put some mittens on that guy in practice, right? All he does is grab.
Sure.
They got to teach him not to grab. Put some mittens on him and make him cover somebody. That's what I would do anyway. Of course, that's I'm an old style coach. I would yell at players and stuff like that, and I'd have some fun doing it too. And then I think Campbell for the defense I thought played really well yesterday at linebacker, but I didn't think the rest of the linebackers played so well. So that was pretty much it. I thought the defensive line did their job.
Your buddy Anzalone had a good game.
He did not.
See,
he had 1 sack.
Yeah.
Right? He had a sack.
Seemed like he was all over the field to me.
He was all over.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
Every time somebody made a tackle, he was right there to high five him. You're right. He was all over the field.
my only thing would be
Hey,
better if Baaack got in the game.
how about that Jake Bates curveball? Man, that looked like the old Willie Hernandez screwball from the '84 Tigers. Man,
Yeah, that was great.
somebody
But,
must have opened the door at Ford Field. Let the suction go through.
I have one word for the defense: 17.
Okay.
So we scored 17 points off of 3 turnovers.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I think the defense played their part and the offense just cleaned it up. So, yes, we still have some improvements to make on defense, but overall, I'd say, geez, good job, boys.
Good job. All right. So let's move on, right? An expected win over Cleveland, and that's behind us now. And a Minnesota loss and a Green Bay tie on Sunday night. So Detroit is now back on top of the NFC North. But the schedule doesn't get any easier, right? It's a Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengal is up next. And I believe they're coming into, no, we're going to be in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Cincinnati still has a good receiving core. So let's preview the Bengals. How do they match up with Detroit? Dane, let's start with you, buddy.
Well, I think without Burrows, I think it's a totally different team. I mean, they got killed by the Vikings, right? 48-10. So I think losing Burrows and going with their backup, Jake Browning. You know, Browning has thrown 5 interceptions in the 7 quarters that he's played. Now, the guy had a pretty successful career at Washington. He's done all right in the NFL and, you know, pretty much a backup role, but he's not on right now. And I think if we can get some pressure on him, I think that may be the difference in the game, is getting him to continue to commit these turnovers. And then, you know, again, like with the Browns, then the offense comes in and, you know, wipes it up and takes us to victory again. So I don't know, Chase Brown, their running back, he's only averaging like 2.4 yards per carry. And nice statistic here. He's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage on 80% of his carries. Not necessarily getting taken down, but he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. So either he's sitting back there trying to pick his hole or something, or that offensive line just isn't that good. So people are getting in on him. So again, I see the defense leading the way again for us in this game. What do you think, Junko?
How you see it, Junko?
Well, Dane, I think you're right. I think that offensive line isn't very good, and let's face it, Joe Burrows is hurt, right? So there's a reason for that. And I agree with you about Chase Browning. I don't think that he's the answer for them, and I think now they're just trying to survive while Burrows is gone. And I think what's their record now? Is it 3-1? Is that what they are? 2-1? I forget.
I think so. Yeah. 2-1.
Right. So they're desperate.
Yeah, they play tonight.
That's right. They play tonight. We'll be able to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll know more tonight watching them too.
That means, but I think we're a better team on both sides of the ball. Even if they had Joe Burrows and they don't have him, the big question in this game really is going to come down to, can Browning get the ball to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? And if he does, those guys are playmakers, and if he doesn't, then they're cooked. Every secondary though sees what we have back there, you know, in Terry and Arnold. Right, so you can bet that Terry and Arnold's going to be a focus of their prep for the Lions. Luckily for us, they're going to have a short week. That will help us a little bit, I think. So yeah, that's kind of how I kind of see it right now. I think Detroit's got an advantage.
Well, I think it's great having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but if you don't have a quarterback, or you know, if Jake from State Farm is going to be throwing him, you've got a Meek Robinson, and we'll see what happens with DJ Reed. But I think you're going to see more of Meek Robertson than Terry and Arnold. I think Kelvin Shepard has had his fill of the PI penalties.
How about the first score touchdowns? I mean, is every team going to score on their first drive against us? Has he had his fill of that yet?
I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, and you know, and also I don't want the Lions to look at this as to look ahead or past this game because Kansas City's up next. But I see the Lions handling the Bengals with some ease. Now, given these factors, let's look at 3 factors that the Lions need to win here. What are the 3 key moments that they're going to have to do real quickly? Junko, 1, 2, 3. What do they need to do to win?
Detroit needs to defend the pass because Cincinnati doesn't have much of a running game. They need to pressure the quarterback. They're in their backup, right? You want to be hitting that backup on every opportunity. And like every game, they got to win the turnover battle. No extra opportunities for Cincinnati. Make them play the whole game, and make them work for every possession. That's it.
There you go. Bada boom, bada bing. Dane?
Yeah, I agree with Junko on pressuring Browning, and then also establish a run game. And then I say the third factor that'll break their backs is go for it on 4th down, baby.
They won't expect that.
We didn't get to see that against the Browns. We're 0 for 1 or something. But
not that much. No,
were they?
No, there were a couple third down situations where they punted and it was 3rd and long, and I'm going, what? What's he doing? Well, I think they need to get Trey Hendrickson off of Goff. Just keep him away from Goff so he has time. And we'll see how effective these elite receivers will be without Burrows. And the Detroit offense can continue using their plethora of tools. They can pass, they can run. It's all there in front of them. So let's have a few score predictions. It's a 4:25 start in Cincinnati. Lions are 8.5-point favorites. Pending tonight's game, we'll see what the Bengals do against the Vikings or against Denver. So we'll see how they do. So Junko, what's your score?
The Lions are a very good road team. So normally I would take a couple points off my expectation for the road, but not with Detroit the way they play on the road now, and not the fact that I think they're going to have a lot of Detroit fans in the stands for that game. So I'm going to go Detroit 31, Cincinnati 20.
Oh, okay. Dane?
Yeah, I guess this is another Ohio team. So
yes,
it's time to kick some more Ohio ass. And I got them winning 38-17, the Lions.
Yep. Lions than he was for the Wolverines. Wow.
Yeah. You guys
they have converted me after. I was kind of down on them after the Packers, but I tell you, they've looked really good since.
So was the whole city, by the way.
What do you got, Bob? What do you got for a score?
I got Lions 28, Bengals 17. So I think I'm the low score of the bunch. All right. But I'll tell you what I also got. I got Lions trivia.
All right.
You
got the music? Oh, no music.
No, I got no music for that. No, my production value isn't as high. So now little interesting facts about the Bengals. Bengals and Lions have played 13 times since 1970. Bengals being an AFC team, of course, it's not very often that they play. The Bengals began play as an AFL team in 1967 as the last team to be added before the 1970 merger of the NFL and the AFL. Currently, the Lions have a 7-game losing streak. Last time they won was November 22nd of 1992 at Riverfront Park, Cincinnati, Ohio. So who was the leading scorer in that game? And as a bonus, would the final score help you guys at all if I told you the final score? All right. Lions won 19-13. So was the high scorer of that game Barry Sanders, Jason Hanson, or Herman Moore?
They won 1917. Is that what you said?
1913.
13, and it was 1972.
Yes. No, 92.
92. Oh, okay. Thank you. 92. Jason Hanson.
Okay, you're both right.
I'm like
Jason Hanson.
Mr. Automatic.
Jason Hanson scored 13 points, and Barry Sanders had 1 touchdown. 13 points with the extra point. So, I loved Jason Hanson, man. He was money.
That team, wasn't he? I believe
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one. That was
Yeah.
Wayne Fonts.
92.
That's why Barry only scored one touchdown.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah, but Barry was like gold. Nobody touched Barry. You know, he was well protected in practices. So, guys, I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for doing the show with us. Thank you for listening, everybody out there. If you like what you hear, slam that like button in whatever site you're listening on. And we just want to remind you that we have a new home on YouTube. So check out the Lowdown on Motown Sports YouTube channel. We would appreciate that. This podcast is part of Junko Productions and an exclusive production of the Lowdown on Motown Sports Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you all on the next edition of Lowdown on Motown Sports.